Right, so we have to top up that food down there, and as you can see, what's the date today, Dylan?
What?
What's the date today?
Don't know.
You go to school and don't know the date, and you can see the covers are on.
Thursday, October, 1st October.
Oh yes, the 1st of October, and you can see the covers are on at the moment. So Dylan has the job of jumping in there, walking along the wall as I do, his 50-year-old or nearly 50-year-old father, and does this all the time. So Stephen, if you're watching this, there's your pines. So all right, next clip would be Dylan feeding up those there, filling up them. There you go. Yeah, keep moving through. There you go. Well done. So Dylan's gonna fill up that feeder now. Open it up. Yeah, open it up. That's why you have children, so you don't have to do these type of labors. Alright, open up the thing. Just knock all the food to the side so it's even. There you go. Fill up now. So that mixture of food we have there is around 30% sinking, and the rest is a floating tide pellet. All growth food. A bit of colour as well. Just don't get any of the expensive sake hikari on the ground. If it drops in a pond, it's fine. But not in the ground. There you go. Yeah. So I think that thing holds 3 kilos of food. Maybe somebody could tell me, is it 3 or 5 kilo it holds? I think it's 3. Maybe it's 5. So we're going to fill up all the way to the top. The more you fill, the less day you'll have to climb back in there. So you can see the fish queuing up for their food. I've got these air on just ever so gently at the lowest setting, just to because the days are quite warm in the daytime with the sunlight coming in here. I think at the moment, Dylan will tell us, but at the moment I think there's up almost 20 Celsius inside. It's quite warm in there, Dylan, isn't it?
It's not boiling hot, but
It's quite warm, yeah.
mild here.
Yeah.
One more scoop or?
Keep going until it's like proper foam. Yeah, use your hands and push it. Yeah, there you go. You could probably get another scoop in there. Yeah, one more like that would be fine. Yeah, so we're just topping up the feeder. We do this now every 3 days, I think, or so. Yeah, empty all that in, Dill. There you go, and shut the cover on the, there you go, and then that one there. You should be able to, there you go, open it one more time, and then shut it again. There you go. Right, so then we're going to film and come back in case he falls. It'll be a good moment. Alright, so pull the food around you and put it back. Yeah, that's right. Make sure you twist it around. Have you got your phone in your pocket?
No, right by the glass.
Oh, I wish you had.
My AirPods are inside, so.
Your AirPods. Good job. I'll push it all the way around. Your Uncle Ian from Wales. Say hello to Ian from Wales. Say hello, Hasselhoff. There you go, he's gonna fall, watch him. Bush!
Stop it.
There you go. That's how he goes for his tea in this morning, like an old man. That's how Mike goes to the shops. He has a Zimmer frame like that to get his stuff in Japan. Right, come on then, we want to see if you're going to fall. This will be a good video moment.
I'm falling just an hour.
Come on then, put the food around. I can't cut a hole in the polycarbonate, but I prefer seeing you walk like this. It's more fun.
Oh, so you're going to make me get a 30k views and no money?
Yes. No money, come on then. I can hear the arrow back flushing now. Go on. Oh, what's the Celsius reading there? Is it 20?
I think so.
Yeah, it looks like 20 on there. So that's the temperature inside the fish house, yeah.
Oh, in the fish house? So.
Yeah, right now. Sorry, inside this polycarb. So here's Dylan coming with his Hikari Zimmer frame. Let's see his dismount. Wait, put the food a little bit further so you don't knock the whole bowl in the water. There you go. Here's his dismount. Let's see. Is he gonna fall? Oh, he got away with it. So the next time the camera comes out, we're gonna get my electrician putting the LED light there and there, one there. It'll be in the middle. The LED lights are going to go there, and these LED lights are to help the fish colors so they don't damage their terry or their luster, their sheen over the winter months while this is in there. So yeah, so there are my hot chili peppers being planted from seeds. So yeah, the temperature in here is 20 Celsius. I think the outside temperature, I'll go over and have a look. I think the outside temperature today, I don't know, it feels a bit mild, but 15 saying on that. If you could just about see it, it's about 15. So okay, Saturday morning, doing a bit of a water test on my KH and pH. So this is the pH test that I'm using. So I try not to touch the reagent or the tablet, if you want to call it that. So I tend to pop the thing as it is there and just manipulate the foil and let it drop in without touching it, because I think, and I could be wrong, there are experts out there, lots of experts out there these days who are willing to correct you, which is helpful. But I think personally, if you're going to touch that, whatever oils is on your finger or anything like that can contaminate the sample. So this is the KH test as well, so I drop that in without even touching it. That's the one I use for the KH test. And so I'm recording this because a lot of guys ask me about how do I do this. So I have a bit of water in here that I use to wash the crusher, is what I call it. I'm sure there's another name that a lot of people there could correct me on there, but I call it a crusher because the thing does crush. And I get rid of, crush all them fine bits there. As you can see, I'm really pressing it in hard there. So I'm just checking the calibration on my pH controller, which is what I do once or twice a week, depending. And right now, because I'm feeding heavy. So anyhow, I got the crusher in there. I'm going to wash that with a little bit of water. I can't show you how to wash it, but I'm sure you can use your imagination and figure out how to wash it. I wash it and wipe it, and then I go on to the second one, the KH one, and I crush it as well. Make sure I get all the solid bits down. The KH on a manual for Palin test tells me to let it sit for 1 minute before I read it. So I give it a good crush first, and then the clear one is the one that I blank the system off, which calibrates it to the sample, not the machine. The machine goes off the Palin test themselves to get calibrated, but this is to the sample. So as you can see, I'm really getting every fine bit there. I don't like guesswork, I like numbers. I'm a man that works with numbers normally as well, so numbers are important. So color charts for me is not my thing. So then I give this a good back and forth. I don't shake it loads and froth it up. I just make sure it's totally dissolved. Same with this, and I don't shake it, as you can see. That's what I'm doing to get whatever's at the bottom swirling around, and I can see that I've got almost all, if not all, the thing sorted. So now I'm going to put a cover on the sample, and we're going to test. So here we have a cover here. I was looking for that cover, and so I'm going to give these all a good clean. Hopefully you can see how I clean it. You don't want any fingerprints, again, any oils, because these machines use light to shoot through to get a reading. So switch on the Palin test, and so the manual's there, but I know all the information off the top of my head, really, because I've done these tests hundreds of times, so I know I don't need to read the manual. So I'm going to select 27, which is the pH test. I'm going to press OK, insert the blank. This is the blank. Put the cap on, and it would say blank in, like some people will do to you. A blank you if they see you. And then I said insert the sample. So
pop this one off. And this is my sample test here. So I'm expecting this pH. I don't know, I'm expecting. Let's see what it says. Forget what I'm expecting. Yep, that's the pH there. Okay, so I'm going to go over and put an offset in. So let me go over and set the offset. That's what the machine is reading, but I suspect it was a little bit low. And because there is what you call it, good bacteria build up on the probe. The probe does tend to read a little bit less, but this has the way you can offset it to get it perfectly right. So I've offset it to there. Now sometimes you got to be careful because you can get a bit of a, even with a calibrated machine like my Palin test here, you can get a weird reading. And the way you do make sure you get the right reading is you check it with the KH. So if I have a pH reading of 1.5, 7.15 I should say, which is very low, I should expect a KH of probably 15 in here. So this is not pre-done. Let's see what I'll get. So this is the KH or the total alkalinity. So let's see what we get. So the sample is in, get a reading. Yeah, so that's what I expect. Now, if that was reading 25 milligrams, then that reading, this initial sample, I would say was wrong, because they do, I found in my experience, you can get sometimes a reagent even within a seal box where it's just a weird reading. So like the other day I had it where the KH was or the milligrams was on 25, yet the pH was reading 6.95 on the Palin test. Well, I know that's wrong. There's no way that can happen. So then I redid the sample, put a new reagent tablet in, crushed it, and yeah, bang on, it was right where it should have been. So sometimes you got to make sure, because even when the samples get in there and seal it, might have a slight break on the foil or something, and air has got into it and ruined the reagent tablet, and you get a false reading. So always good to make sure you keep your reagents sealed, like I do, and I got some in a sealed bag as well, so then nothing can contaminate it as well. So hopefully that has helped you in that experiment. Now I'm just doing this as a short video, preempting what I'm going to do later on. So I've set the Palin, the pH controller where I want it, where this tells me it should be, and I run it skinny. I don't run. To me, there's no point running arrow and running it gingerly, because I'm afraid of getting a crash. You wouldn't get a crash. Crashes don't happen overnight, and with a KH reading of 15 milligrams, that's just below 1 degree in itself. So I wouldn't expect this to crash at all. It'll probably take till Wednesday if I don't do anything before anything happens. But even so, the system will work. Now let me just show you for those who are asking. So if this, right now I'm at 23 degrees Celsius, the boiler is just heating the pond. So what's happening is, when this drops a little bit lower, then it opens the pH control tank, which is this tank here. Now I don't use a dosing pump. Not that I don't believe in a dosing pump, but a dosing pump is another thing that can go wrong, and I've had dosing pumps in the past where they got clogged and it wasn't dosing. So I stayed away from a dosing pump this time. Went for the cheaper route, which was a header tank. So it's way up to the ceiling. I have to fill it with an aquarium pump. So what I do is I use this pump here, and I use a bucket of hot water and I pump it into there, which has bicarb solution in it. So what happens is when that sensor goes too low, sends a signal to this valve that opens, pop, and then that water dribbles down and goes into the pond, and then that would start dosing the pond, and this would start raising the KH. Now it's a little bit high. Normally I run the, if you know me, I run the pH really low. It's just a little bit high because I was away and I didn't get a chance to calibrate it, and it dosed
when it was slightly lower than it should have done, it dosed them. So it's a little bit higher. It's not a huge, massive difference, but that's what it is. I'm pedantic that way. I like it to run properly. I don't believe you should run RO and then run it, well, I'm going to run RO and I'm not going to run it properly. I'm just going to run it half properly. It's like, well, I'm going to keep koi, but I'm not going to keep them properly. I'm just going to keep them half properly. I think if you're going to run RO, do it properly, or in my words, just don't do it at all. But if you can get your pH below 7.4 and your KH around 1, that's probably, if that's what your pond's constantly reading, I wouldn't bother in that way. But if you're going to run RO, then run it properly in that way. The TDS on this pond is normally at 80 parts per million, 70 to 80 parts per million. At the moment, because I'm feeding heavy, when I say heavy, I'm feeding, the machine, the feeders just filled it up. So I'm filling up my Profi Lin feeder once every 3 days. And I think that carries 5 kilograms of food, or 3 to 5, I don't know. Somebody else would know. Another expert would tell me. So I'm sure they would let me know what that is. So that's how much I'm feeding a day. I think around 800 grams plus whatever I throw in with my hands, which is probably close to a kilo really, I'm feeding a day. So hopefully that helps you guys. And like I said, the key with these things is that when you using them is make sure you have no fingerprints on them, and then that test is totally clear. There's no bits floating around. Another thing I want to point out to you is that when you're measuring, when you put in your sample in with Palin test, that arrow there, you go with the arrow touching the water. Don't fill the water to that line, but that arrow there needs to be on the sample. So you can see the line is just below and the sample is just above there. So that's where you want it to be. Don't have it below there, because then it's not accurate to where it wants to be. Read your instructions. Go online, search using my Palin test, and Palin test company have some instructions, although not a lot, but I do have some instructions on the basic use of their machine. And then I do encourage you as well to get your machine calibrated. So if you look at mine, let me just take this KH sample out. So if you look at mine here, let's just raise it up. You can see that's when it was calibrated, which was the 5th. That's May this year. So every year this machine goes and get a certificate checked. In my mind, you're only as good as the machine, and if the machine is wrong, you're wrong. So I want to be like the gospel, like the Bible, accurate. So this is my sort of way. Anyhow, so there you go. That's your pH test and your KH test on the Rasta pond. And it's too cold and too wet outside to do anything else. So hopefully this helps you, and please remember to like and subscribe to the videos. And the more people who like and the more people who subscribe is the more opportunity I have to do these sort of things. And if you enjoy them, only if you do, please share them. If you don't like them, just don't bother watching. Don't bother putting a thumbs down. Just say, you know, I don't like it, I'm not gonna watch that dude anymore. That's fine. But for the hundreds of you that likes, and YouTube has told me, YouTube analytics has told me that there are about 70% of people who watch these videos that don't subscribe to it. Please help the creators, help the guys that create these videos by subscribing. Don't just hop on and hop off. That's not a good way. Okay, so keep us boys. If you enjoy videos, subscribe it, share it, and all those things. So hopefully that will help you. Let me just show you quickly what I'm feeding at the moment, because a lot of people ask. My coffee's gone cold. So that's what I'm feeding at the moment, all Saki Hikari. And there's a mixture of floating, sinking, and I've finishing up my color food feeding regime. These are all washed, ready to go for my recycle arrow. That's all washed and ready to go. So I'm hoping that this helps you out pretty good. So as you can see, it's a horrible day here in the city of Leicester. Well, in England it's freezing. Well, say freezing. For a Trinidadian it's freezing. Alright, peace out. Like and subscribe.
I'm sorry, me man, Chip. about sending you them movies or them coin and them up on thing.